So I have a couple negatives here for you, a couple stats. So this is a negative because lowest drop rate in the class at 2.2% from his receiving core and tight ends, which could be could be viewed as a positive because obviously his ball placement is very elite. But we're going to talk about Ty Simpson later, and he had the highest drop rate. So it's like when I see a guy and his numbers are a little inflated because his receivers, he has Surratt and Omar Cooper, who are both going to be a first rounder and like a third round receiver, both NFL players. That's a little bit concerning. He benefited from heavy RPO. Kid took 6 snaps under center for his entire career. That's counting Cal. 3 years, 6 snaps under center mouth. And I know the college game is very, very heavy into shotgun, but we're talking six. You've almost taken 6 snaps under center in the college game. I mean, you're only 6 away. Only 6 away, dude. So how much does that concern you?
That's almost as many snaps as Anthony Richardson took in college and in high school combined. If you actually pay attention to how many games Anthony Richardson started before he ever started an NFL game, it was the answer, by the way, to that trivia question is 15. High school and college games combined, Anthony Richardson started before he was a 6th pick in an NFL draft. But
Silver says, real quick, he's talking about Cousins, and we talking about Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden O'Connell. So Aiden O'Connell's what I was talking about out of Purdue. That's their current backup, who I actually don't hate. He's a Gardner Minshew type, right? It was him and Minshew that year. Cousins is fine. Cousins is perfect for like the mentoring, and I think Cousins is that point of his career. You saw it last year with Penix. He's not Aaron Rodgers, right? He's fine with mentoring, but I don't want to start Kirk Cousins with those pass catchers. You got to play Mendoza. No. You have to. Right?
No, Mendoza's because the pass catchers you have, I believe Trey Tucker's there. The Raiders are definitely drafting either Boston, Cooper, or Brazel. One of the 3 is going to be a Raider. All 3 of them are I go zoom fast downfield. So Tucker and Brazel are that. Besh is your intermediate guy. You're getting Bowers back. All of them run. And you're going to have Genty there with an improved offensive line to set up play action. The one thing we know Mendoza has is a strong arm. So to make the things simpler for the kid, hand off the ball to Genty. If Genty gets a great gain on first down, if it's like 2nd and 4, play action to Genty, boom it to whatever wide receiver has run the fastest down the field on a go route, and hope to God. That's pretty much going to be the Raiders' offense.
So do you think he can overcome what I mentioned previously, the 6 plays under center? So just for some kind of context here, Kubiak's last 2 seasons, he was 55% and 42% of his quarterbacks under center, which was 2nd and 5th in the NFL. So he is really high on having the quarterback under center and having a heavy play action game, which is not what Mendoza was doing RPOs. That was the extent of that. And that it doesn't mesh. Now, I love Kubiak, the coordinator. It's similar to like the Kevin O'Connell thing with Kyler Murray. Like Kevin O'Connell's a great coach and a great quarterback whisperer, but he is for the style of quarterback he prefers. The Nick Mullins, the taller, quick processors. So it's like I feel like the marriage. I like the situation. I like the Linderbaum signing. I like all those things. I like the head coach being the coordinator. Like it's a nice infrastructure, but the 2 aren't going to mesh right away. And I guess what I'm asking you, Mouth, is the lack of under center play and the extreme lack of under center play going to hurt him? And how long is it going to take him to get that in his game, to be comfortable turning his back to NFL defenders?
Well, here's the other side of that argument. Can Kubiak adjust his play calling style to the quarterback he has? How quickly is he going to ease Mendoza into under center? Can he run maybe 65% shotgun to 35% under center? And can his under center work only be handoffs for now? Can he start to teach him play action with the shotgun and then move to under center handoffs and play action later? How good of a coach is Kubiak? And well, last year when you were giving Charbonnet zones and Walker interior runs,
it wasn't great.
That's the question. This is why I wonder sometimes about the Raiders' decision making.
So I want to flip it a little bit. We've been talking a little negatively about Mendoza, which is we want to nitpick the guy who is a consensus number one. So let's talk about some
Because
positives.
everybody else has been literally handing him every flower on the planet. So
Right.
somebody has to tell
I'm
you the
glad we
truth
started
about
off with the
where the
negative.
guy could go, where the guy could go wrong, because let's go where he could go right.
Right. So let's go here. So pretty much 11 yards per attempt on 3rd and 4th down last year, which is the money downs. And that's, when the defense is honed in on the pass, which is very encouraging. 75% on target throw rates and 4.7% touchdown rate on 3rd and 4th down. So the big time downs, he is not only getting yards, getting first downs, he's scoring touchdowns at a way high. That was a class high. Only 13% of his passes were behind the line of scrimmage. So he wasn't padding his stats with, those design screens and things like that. So I do like that. And then I would say battle tested, right? 303 dropbacks last year against power conference teams. So he also had 5 games against top 10 defenses. So he wasn't just playing cupcakes. He had obviously the college football schedule, which helped that stat. And I'm going to give you my comps real quick before I get to your positives. So this might sound gross, and I think this guy, my floor player for him, is a guy that had a bad career, but he was a better prospect. It was Sam Darnold. Sorry, not Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford, former number 1 overall pick out of Oklahoma. Similar body type, really tall, had a rocket arm. Sam Bradford, quick release, was a great player, had a nice renaissance there at the end of his career, but injuries derailed Sam Bradford. And my ceiling is Andrew Luck, honestly, because he is definitely a run-first passer to where he's running to pass opposed to running to run. But Andrew Luck was that same kind of player. Andrew Luck was a little thicker, but this is a big boy. Mendoza's a big boy. So Andrew Luck's my ceiling. And that's a very good ceiling. And I don't think he has the flowers coming out that Andrew Luck had. Andrew Luck had a lot of turnovers, but he also was a gritty competitor. And that's one thing we know about Mendoza. Great kid, hard worker, and a competitor. And those were all 3 things Andrew Luck had.
The reason Mendoza's not getting the flowers that Andrew Luck got is because of the time period in which Mendoza is coming into the NFL. Mendoza's coming into the NFL in the time period when every quarterback is looking like Michael Vick and Randall Cunningham, and that's the style of quarterback that everybody wants. For example, we're going to get to that quarterback later on in the draft, in our draft discussion. But, the guy who looks like Luck is not the guy who everybody's touting, but if you watch him, he's got the grittiness of Luck. He moves to throw like Luck did. He's got the kind of arm that Luck does, and unlike Luck, he doesn't turn the ball over that much. In fact, not at all. So there's the difference. If you really want to comp him, it's a little better than Luck, no? More Stafford-esque?
Man, Andrew Luck was, I think we forget how good Andrew Luck was. He came into a pretty bad situation, won some playoff games, had some amazing moments. Had a lot, he was very turnover prone, but he was also very aggressive, where I feel like Mendoza's a little bit more, he's also aggressive, but he's safer with the football, which I do like, but I would say that Andrew Luck was a better athlete.
That's why I was saying Stafford-esque.
Who do you think has a better arm, though, Andrew Luck or Mendoza? Because Andrew Luck had that kind of that funky release where it was almost like not quite Phillip Rivers, almost that little short arm, but he had a lot of zip on it. So is it Mendoza with a better arm?
I kind of need to see Mendoza grow into his body first. But if we're having this debate now, probably Mendoza.
So, I guess the jury for us is we do like Mendoza. Obviously, in this class, he is number 1. One last question on Mendoza. We talk about the 2023 class a lot, which was Caleb and Jaden Daniels and Drake May and Bo Nix. Obviously, JJ McCarthy as well. Let's not talk about him. But where would he go? Where would you have him ranked if he was in that class, or this class was in this year, for instance? Not knowing what we know about Jaden Daniels going to an NFC Championship game and Caleb emerging and Drake May going to a Super Bowl, just as prospect, where we all love these prospects. Would he be number 1 in that class, I guess is what I'm getting at.
No, he wouldn't be number 1 in that class. That would still be Caleb. I would put him slightly below Jaden Daniels, but definitely above Drake May. I like him better than Drake.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's,
but it's a close number 3. It's a close number 3. It's a close number 3.
Right. Yeah. Drake May was more raw, which is crazy. We're saying that the guy just went to a Super Bowl in his second year with a pretty subpar team.
Yeah, but he still is raw, and that's the other thing. Jaden Daniels was also more raw than Mendoza.
All right,
Caleb
let's
was
move
the
on to your
most
boy.
put together.
Let's move on to your boy, Ty Simpson. You love him. You've been talking him up. You
I am.
you have him at number 2. So you have Mendoza at 1, obviously. Where do you have Ty? Let's just start with this. Where do you have Ty Simpson ranked? He's your second guy, I'm guessing.
He is. He is because everybody talks about how every quarterback in this class comps to Brock Purdy. They comp to Brock Purdy. They comp to Brock Purdy. This guy actually does comp to Brock Purdy because he's probably the